York County is so much more than just a stop for gas on I-80. 17 County is filled with unique individuals with unique stories just waiting to be told. Welcome to the 17 County Podcast with your host, Emily Perry.
This is 17 County Podcast. Thank you for tuning in for today's episode. Be sure to like, subscribe, and listen. This helps our podcast grow, and we thank you for your continued support. We would also like to take the time to thank our York County Development Corporation members, AgriProducts, Cornerstone Bank, Nebraska Public Power District, and Central Valley Ag. Without these great members, we wouldn't be able to focus on the growth and development of York County here at the YCDC. So thank you. Let's get to the podcast. Today we have Austin back on the podcast. I'm sure some of you have listened to past podcasts before where you may have heard his voice. I guess you have kind of a new position now.
New position, new job title. And I am now officially the host of KOOL Mornings with the Stache on KOOL Radio, 6 to 10 a.m. on, gotta get them all right, 103.5 FM, 95.9 FM, and 1370 AM, or anywhere worldwide with the KOOL Radio app.
Hey, that was very...
Thank you.
Seems like you might have said that a time or two.
Once or twice.
Okay, so you have this new... I don't even know. I don't want to call it new position because I feel like it's the type of stuff you've been doing.
It's an addition kind of thing. It's a new role added on because I still make the commercials for KOOL Radio and Max Country. So if you advertise with us, I'm likely the guy making your commercial. So that hasn't gone away. I'm still doing that. But now my day, instead of starting at 8:30, I get to the office at 5:30. So. Oof. Which, I am, we were talking about this before the podcast, I'm a morning person through and through, and exact opposite of my wife and 18-month-old, who, if it's before 8 a.m., they are so much more than grumpy cats. Don't even talk to them. It's not even worth it.
I understand, and I can sympathize with them, because 5 a.m. sounds awful, but, to each their own.
It's great. I mean, since I live in Lincoln, I'm up at 4 in order to leave the house by 4:30 to get to the station by 5:30. And there's something so nice about just being awake when no one else is. And I'm not doing anything. I'm just having, I'm making a protein shake. I'm having breakfast. But there's like a quiet and a calm that comes with being up that early that my brain really likes.
Oh, I'll let you have it. Because that would be a long day for me, and I would not be a nice person by the end of the day. I need my sleep. So tell me about the show. What is it? I know you have a fun personality.
Thank you.
That comes out in that. So yeah, tell me a little bit about it.
So the goal for KOOL Mornings with the Stache is I want this to be. I have a couple different influences from my time in radio. So when I worked in Orlando, there was a station called Real Radio 104.1, and it was a talk station, which means that it's very different from what I'm doing, which is still a music station, but they were so big on listener involvement, being involved in the community. They're the radio station that I want KOOL Radio to be, except we have way more music.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of the energy that there's one show that I absolutely love that's called The News Junkie. And it's three people that have such a close relationship with their listeners that they can talk about any topic. They could talk about, what's a good one? They could talk about what is your favorite baseball memorabilia, right? Something that it's not really that much of a topic. It's not controversial. Who really cares about a foam finger versus a baseball, right? They could talk about it, and their audience would have 6 people deep on the phone line saying, I'm ready to talk about this topic.
Wow.
And I want that sort of community interaction. I want every day I have a topic for the 7 o'clock hour that I post on Facebook that then people can comment there, or they can call in and say, here are my thoughts on this topic. And that's what I love. I love having those kind of interactions. The other thing that in Orlando they did really well is they had a bunch of community events that were like they did guns for shoes. So you could bring in any gun and drop it off at the police station and you get a pair of shoes.
Interesting.
Yeah. They had a bike rally day where people donated bikes to kids and then they handed out the bikes to kids.
Oh, cool.
They did concerts. They did charity events. Like they did so many things and they were ingrained in the community in such a wonderful way that I looked at that and went, that's how radio is supposed to be. Because in Orlando, where it's supposed to be this really big, it's a big market. You're supposed to play hits. You're supposed to just move on from song to song. They didn't. They made Orlando feel like a small town community because everyone was working together and doing all these wonderful things. And so I want to bring that same kind of energy to an actual small town that everyone wants to come together. And so eventually, because the show is still in its early stages, I want to have I want to do a lot of interviews with like the mayor of York and Seward. I want to bring on the York County Sheriff, the Seward County Sheriff. I want to bring on that when the school season or when football season starts, I want to bring on the high school football coaches and just talk to them about, hey, how's the team looking this week? And I'm excited to have those conversations and really let it be a community station. And it's also not just a York station. It's a York and Seward station.
Right.
And I know lots of people complain from time to time. They're like, why don't you ever talk about Seward? Or blah, blah, blah. I want to be everyone's station that is within our listening audience. So,
absolutely. Yeah. Oh, man.
It's a lot.
It's a lot, yeah. Yeah, no, I love the interaction piece and seeing you guys in the community. You guys are already a huge presence.
Absolutely. But the thing is that as big of a presence as we are, it seems to lean more towards Max Country. And that kind of stems from Doug and Frank were awesome. They were phenomenal. But they liked their schedule. And and so they would come in, do the morning show, have a great time, and Doug would stick around and do everything he needs to do here. But because of their age, they didn't really want to get out and do things the way that I want to get out and do things. And so they fostered this really great relationship from the station, from the studio, and I want to foster that relationship like actually out face to face. People are gonna know the Stache.
Yeah. So let's talk about that for a minute.
Yeah.
Well, our listeners obviously can't see you.
Right.
So where did the Stache come from?
I started growing. It's kind of funny when my wife and I first got married. I always thought to myself, like, man, I want to grow a mustache. I knew I couldn't grow a beard. I haven't shaved in a couple days, and this is as good as it gets and it's patchy. It's not great, but I always felt like I would be a good mustache guy. Okay. And then when the pandemic hit and I knew I wasn't going to see my boss or my host of the show for what was originally going to be 2 weeks and turned into months.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'm going to start wearing pajamas to work and I'm going to just let everything grow. I have only grown out my hair once in my life and it was disgusting.
Okay.
It was awful. And when I say it was gross, like a picture like Boy Meets World, part down the middle, but I hadn't cut it in almost a year. And so it was, my wife said yes to me marrying her with that haircut. So
true love.
It truly was. It still is. Truly true love. And so I was like, yeah, I'm just going to grow everything out. I'm going to be gross. Sorry, babe. Like, we'll see what happens. And grew everything out for like a month and a half. And I felt like just the itchiest human being on the planet. Felt like the Wolf Man. Like, there's a scene in Seinfeld where he had shaved his chest and now he's like scratching at it, trying to get at it. That's what it felt like. And so I went to my buddy who was a barber. I was like, all right, take the beard off, bring back the flat top, but leave the mustache. And when I left the mustache, Liz looked at me and went, "Oh, that looks really good, actually."
Ooh.
And so she is as on board with the mustache as I am. That's awesome. And it's gone through iterations. There, upon first grow, it had a really big curl. Like it was so big that I could see the curl in front of my eyes. Then there was a long stretch where it's just flat. And now I'm trying to take it in a little bit more. So that way it's a smaller curl that isn't like super wide. I know it's weird, but like I never thought about like styling a mustache and what that's like.
Yeah.
It's hard.
I can imagine.
And I have a flat top. There is no work to be done. I roll out of bed and this thing's done, but the mustache isn't. So it's a lot of work. I wasn't ready for that. But now it's here to stay. My wife loves it. I think I look great with it. I keep telling people, they're like, how much would it take for you to shave this thing? And the answer is, if someone physically paid me $50,000, I would do it. Or $100,000 towards charity. Like, you know what I mean? Like if someone gives me a lump sum, they're like, here's a check for $50,000. I'm like, well, all right, fine. But if I feel like I could do more for charity than I would do for myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
fair enough.
$100,000 for charity and this thing would be gone.
I'm hearing a challenge out there. Okay.
Not yet. Give it a year.
Give it some time.
Give it some time. I'm still emotionally attached to this mustache.
Fair. Okay. Fair. Okay, so let's kind of get back to the actual show.
Yeah.
We talked about the interaction piece of it. Let's talk about music. What kind of music is on there?
So we're sticking with classic hits. However, we are going to slowly age the music up a little bit because I don't have a real connection to music from the 60s. And so in order to kind of keep that connection with myself, and then also, we're moving towards what we're calling bangers and bops only.
Okay.
So we're going towards more upbeat. We're not going to have the super slow ballads, especially in the morning. We'll probably have those at night, but the station as a whole is moving towards mid 70s to late 80s is kind of our bread and butter. And then we're still going to have the Beatles. We're still going to have the Rolling Stones. And we're going to have some songs from the 90s as well. But our bread and butter is going to be like 1975 to 1990. So
it's a good decade.
It's it's great music. There's so much music to parse through. And that all still has like, it sounds weird, but even though it's from the 70s and from the 80s, it doesn't sound old. It still bangs, man.
It has relevance.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. And so, we're not doing it quickly. We're very slowly changing the music, and really we're not changing it a whole lot. We're just getting rid of the songs that aren't people's favorites anymore. And so you'll hear more of your favorite songs more often, because the ones that you're like, I haven't ever heard of this song from 1963, that one's not going to be there anymore.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
At Cornerstone Bank, we are committed to providing you the best in banking products and service. With 46 locations throughout Nebraska, we are dedicated to serve you. Cornerstone Bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Just out of curiosity for myself, I'm intrigued by the radio world just because it's so, I don't know, as a kid, you listen to it and it's like famous people on the radio, So what is your quote unquote average day like? You wake up at 4 a.m.
Wake up at 4 a.m.
And then what?
And then, have my breakfast. And what's funny is I still don't drink coffee. I know. I stopped drinking coffee when I was in Orlando because it was just like, it was making my brain go crazy. And so I was like, okay, I need to cut something out. And coffee was the thing that I just had to go. Yeah. And so I wake up, have breakfast. Then it's the 45-minute drive, which is really nice. Like I've been making this drive for 2 years now, but In the morning, there's no traffic. There's no, the only people you really have to deal with are big truck drivers, and they aren't going crazy. They aren't doing anything too crazy. I get to listen to a podcast or an audiobook. I get here by 5:30, and I take a look at the music that's on there, research some of the music, look at what I'm going to talk about for my show. Because I still have the making commercials and the other part of my job, I have to do show prep like the morning of, which, can be hectic, but, is part of the balancing act. And so find celebrity birthdays, all that sort of stuff. 6 o'clock hour is your classic radio stuff. So we talk about celebrity birthdays. We talk about this day in history and that sort of stuff. 7 o'clock hour is our big topic of the day on this day of recording because it's coming out before, it's being recorded before Father's Day. Our topic for today was, what are some of the quotes from your dad?
Oh, fun.
It was so much fun. Had a couple people call in. Robbie called in and told a story about how his dad would say, "Hey, grab me a beer and don't tell your mother. We'll just keep this between us, pal." Oh, no. I love it so much. And so, we'll have callers and all that sort of stuff. That'll be the 7 o'clock hour. 8 o'clock hour is more weird news from around the area, and then around the world. And if there's anything of note going on in the community, then we kind of talk about in the 8 o'clock hour. In the 9 o'clock hour, it's a lot of just playing the music, because by then people are at work. We're not going to, you don't need to hear me talk for that long. You want to hear the music, all that sort of stuff. So 9 o'clock hour, just kind of, bop around a little bit there. Yeah. Then I get into, I have production orders from the day before, so I'm making commercials, I'm making social media posts, I'm planning ahead for different social media stuff that we're doing here at the station. I work a lot with Callie, who is the newest person here. She's phenomenal. Yeah. Love her so much. And she's keeping Gene whipped into shape.
Oh, I'm sure.
Over on the morning show for Max Country. And so, we work with that, and, I'm out of here by 2, hopefully, fingers crossed. I'm out of here by 2 o'clock, and I'm done with my day. I then can go and be dad, and I can do all that sort of stuff. It's a pretty sweet timeline sort of thing. Yeah. It causes some headaches because everyone else is working till 5, and so I come into work at 5:30 and I've got emails of all right, I need this is going to need to be done today. This is this. And so I can't attack I could attack those, but I choose to, all right, 2 o'clock hits. I'm out of the office. Yeah. I'll get to it tomorrow. Yeah. So, trying to find that balance. And then, bedtime by 8:30. And hopefully 8:30. Yep. I have an 18-month-old. Sometimes it's 9. Sometimes it's 9:30.
Yep.
So, but yeah.
Oh man. So packed day.
Always packed day. Yep. From 5:30 to 2, it is busy. It is go. But I get off by 2. Yeah. So,
absolutely.
Yeah. I got a whole another 6 hours before, with just relaxation and hanging out with the kiddos. So
if it were me, I'd be taking naps.
That's the crazy part. If I take a nap at, 3 o'clock, all of a sudden I can't fall asleep at 8. No. And then it's all bad news. It's like, no.
Yeah. So. Okay, another question that's way in the weeds, and it's just my brain. So you guys have a lot of technology that a lot of people don't think about.
Yeah.
When you just, you listen to it and you're like, oh, they're just magic. They can do this. I don't know. But I'm looking at all your computers and there's so much on it.
Yes.
Can you explain a little bit of that?
Absolutely. So we've got a computer that has double screens that are set up in a way that, so when I'm talking into the mic, I can look at one screen and not have to worry about stuff being in the way. I've got another screen that has my music log on it, and that's the one that kind of runs everything. That's the one that has sound effects. That's the one that has, if there's, I need to play a certain song, it's got all that. That controls the music. And then we also have a bunch of webcams in place, so that way we can do video if needed, and that's all run through the big board that we have with 3 microphones, so that way the audio, no matter what we're doing, is crystal clear, which is the most important thing, obviously. And then, we've got nice headphones, we've got all that, and then we actually have a bunch of stuff that we don't use anymore because, this station has been around for 60 years or something like that, even longer maybe. And so we've got a CD player that still works. I don't know how it works, but it still does. We've got we don't have a record player in here anymore.
Anymore.
Okay. We have a dump button. So when we're live, we're on. We don't use it right now, but I can be on a 7-second delay. And so if I have someone in that swears, I can be like, boop. Cool.
Interesting.
Nobody ever heard it. So so we've got that. And then that's just the stuff in here. We also have cameras that we use to make social media stuff. We do a lot of digital advertising now with clients. And so having the ability to use Photoshop and to create all of those sort of things, that's also part of my job. And we're very much multimedia here. As much as the show is 6 to 10 a.m. and it's on the radio, there's so much more that we have to be able to do. Because when you think about who we're competing it with, we're not just competing with other radio stations. We're competing with podcasts. We're competing with Twitch. We're competing with YouTube. And so how do we stand up to those that are new to the space but are effectively doing the thing that we've been doing for decades, right? Engaging with an audience in the morning. How do we do that and still come across as genuine and stable? Because those are the 2 things radio is. It's genuine connection with someone local, and it's stable. It's not going anywhere. Your favorite Twitch streamer could say, all right, I'm done, peace out.
Right.
At any given moment. We're here for the long run and have been.
Yeah. How long, do you know off the top of your head, how long have we been standing?
KOOL Radio has been around since...
I know, I'm putting you on the spot. I'm sorry.
So that says radio in York dates back half a century. And I don't know what
that's old.
That's old. It's yellowed. It's a yellowed newspaper. So I think it's since 1960-ish, somewhere in there.
Wow.
Maybe 1959, something like that. So
oh man,
KOOL Radio's been here a long. KAWL has been here a long time.
very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Da-dunch. Yeah. Very cool. No, that's awesome. So let's look into the future. You talked a little bit about your vision and where you want the show to go. Do you have anything that's future but a little bit more immediate, different topics that you're going to be bringing up? Or
we're getting into the heat of summer, and so we're going to talk about summer vacations. We're going to talk about favorite summer activities. We're going to talk a lot about, we're going to talk a lot about like Kilgore Memorial Library because, they put on so many things during the summer. And that's another part of the thing that I want to show off is I have found out that, there's so many things to do locally that don't necessarily get the hype. And so I want people to be able to know that, hey, these are things that are going on in York and Seward and beyond, because I know we're not just York and Seward, but, Yeah. So, it's going to be a lot of that. It's going to be a lot of trying to get people over to the Facebook page, and it's a lot we have just started doing birthday shout-outs.
Fun.
Yes.
Okay.
And we're giving away, Dairy Queen has given us ice cream cupcakes and an ice cream cake. So once a week, we'll give away an ice cream cupcake, and once a month, if you put your name in online, koolradionow.com on the birthday wishes section, if you put your name in, and it's your birthday month, you could win a Dairy Queen ice cream cake.
Good to know.
Yes.
Dangerous to know, but good to know.
It is. So, but those are some of the things that are coming up here. And, there are a couple things in the community that we want to join in on. Like, I'm thinking about, like, the Cornerstone tennis tournament. My wife loves playing tennis, and it would be great to have Team KOOL Radio out there.
Oh, yeah.
You know, different stuff like that. So not necessarily radio functions, but, you know, just being out in the community. So
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Well, I think that unless you have more to add, we can get to wrapping up.
Yeah, for sure. I can't think of much else. I think the biggest thing that I want to get across is, like, I really want this show to be collaborative with the community. I don't have a co-host, which means I need the community to be my co-host.
Yeah.
So I really want people to let me know what they want to talk about, and I want people to let me know where. Like, I want to take my show on the road. I want morning show or KOOL Mornings with the Stache on Fridays at businesses, which would be
neat.
It would be really great being out in the community, and then, you know, being at like Daylight Donuts and people walk in with a donut and be like, hey, here's the topic of the day. What do you think? You know?
Yeah, that
sort
would
of
be cool.
thing. I would love to do that sort of stuff. And so, you know, if anyone has ideas, suggestions, reach out to the station, and I will be more than happy to listen. Because that's right now I'm doing a lot of talking. I really want to listen to the community and see what this community wants out of KOOL Radio.
Yeah. So let's do one last plug, both for the show and just for the station in general.
For sure. KOOL Mornings with the Stache. I am Austin the Stache. You can listen Monday through Friday, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. via the FM stations, 103.5 FM or 95.9 FM, 1370 AM, or worldwide thanks to the KOOL Radio app. You can find the KOOL Radio app online at koolradionow.com, and that's KOOL with a K.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Once again, sounds like you've done that a few times. A few million, I'm sure. But all right. Well, thank you so much. I know I learned a lot, and I can't wait to tune in and have other people tune in and see what comes next.
Thanks so much for having me.
In closing, we would like to once again take the time to thank our members, the people that help us drive change. We would like to thank York State Bank, Henderson State Bank, York General, Mead Lumber Company Incorporated, and York News Times. And thank you, our listeners, for tuning in. Catch you next time.